When you think of haunted places, most people imagine old castles, abandoned houses, or ghostly graveyards. But what if I told you that the most terrifying places in the UK are not man-made? Instead, they lie deep in the wilderness. Eerie, natural landscapes that have been steeped in dark legends for centuries. From mist-filled moors to cursed stone circles. These locations are haunted by spirits that refuse to rest. Today, we're venturing into these haunted lands, where the earth itself holds on to its secrets, and where the very air seems to tremble with whispers from the past. In this video, we'll be uncovering 15 of the most haunted and chilling natural landscapes across the United Kingdom. These are places where the boundaries between the living and the dead blur, where ancient forests, fog-covered mountains, and desolate moors hide stories of eerie encounters and unsettling phenomena that have baffled locals and travelers for centuries. From the famous to the obscure, every landscape has a terrifying tale to tell. So grab a blanket, turn off the lights, and settle in as we delve into these spine-chilling locations. Each story will leave you questioning whether you dare set foot in these haunted spots yourself. Are you ready to discover the terrifying truths lurking in the shadows of these cursed and mysterious landscapes? Haunted Natural Place. Number 1. Hampstead Heath, London. Our journey begins in the heart of London, at a place that appears serene, even idyllic during the day. Hampstead Heath, a sprawling ancient parkland offering stunning views of the city skyline, lush woodlands, and tranquil ponds. But beneath its peaceful exterior, there's something far more sinister, hidden among the trees. For centuries, it's been a place of eerie occurrences, where shadows seem to linger just a little too long, and the silence is often broken by something unsettling. Countless visitors have reported strange, unsettling experiences while wandering through the heath after dark. The most chilling of these encounters involves a woman dressed in white, often seen drifting between the trees or pacing near one of the many ponds. Some say she's the ghost of a woman who tragically drowned in the water, while others claim she is a heartbroken soul, forever bound to the place where she took her own life after a devastating loss. What's certain is that her mournful wails can still be heard in the dead of night, rising above the wind, filling the air with an overwhelming sense of sadness and dread. As dusk falls over Hampstead Heath, the atmosphere shifts. The wind picks up, rustling the leaves, and the once friendly trees begin to take on a more sinister shape in the fading light. A thick fog often rolls in, wrapping the entire park in a cloak of uncertainty. It's as though the land itself is alive, shifting, and pulling you deeper into its embrace. Many who've ventured here at night have reported losing their way, feeling as though the paths they've walked on 1,000 times suddenly seem unfamiliar, their surroundings shifting before their eyes. Some say the place has a way of trapping you in its haunting silence, making it impossible to escape once you've entered its grasp. Number 2. Stonehenge, Wiltshire. Narrator voice. Next, we move to the mysterious and ancient Stonehenge, located in the heart of Wiltshire. These massive stones, weathered by centuries of time, have captivated the world with their enigmatic beauty and the questions they leave in their wake. How did these stones come to be? Who built them? And why? While the answers may remain a mystery, the eerie reputation of Stonehenge is no secret. From the very beginning, it has been a place steeped in legend, mystery, and unsettling occurrences. Stonehenge is known for its strange aura, one that becomes even more palpable as night falls. Visitors have reported hearing ghostly drumming, the unmistakable rhythm of ancient rituals, or chanting that seems to emanate from the very stones themselves. The sounds are said to echo across the site, especially during the twilight hours. Some believe these are the restless spirits of the ancient Druids who once gathered here to perform sacred rituals, spirits that remain bound to the stones, unable to find peace. One particularly chilling tale involves a group of tourists who camped near the stones overnight. They awoke to the sound of rhythmic drumming that seemed to come from deep within the earth itself. When they rushed to investigate, the noise abruptly stopped, leaving an eerie silence in its wake. To this day, they claim the sounds they heard were not of this world. As you stand at Stonehenge, the atmosphere is unlike any other place. The wind whispers across the plain, carrying with it a sense of ancient power. The stones themselves seem to pulse with a silent energy, as if they have been waiting for centuries for anyone, to come close enough to feel their presence. The area is often bathed in an unnatural stillness, making it feel as though time itself has come to a halt. Some claim the site holds a strange gravitational pull, drawing people closer as though the stones have a hold over them, a connection to something far older and far darker. 3. Dartmoor, Devon. Next, we travel to the mist-covered moors of Dartmoor, located in the rugged hills of Devon. A place where the land is as ancient as it is mysterious, Dartmoor is a sprawling, desolate landscape known for its breathtaking beauty and its unsettling legends. It's a place where the very earth seems to hold secrets, where dark myths are whispered around campfires, and where the fog rolls in like a shroud, concealing more than just the scenery. But beneath the scenic views, Dartmoor is home to something far darker, an unearthly presence that haunts the land, waiting to claim anyone who dares to venture too far. One of the most chilling and widely known legends of Dartmoor is that of the Hound of Dartmoor, a spectral black dog with glowing eyes that stalks the moors, bringing death and madness to those who encounter it. This eerie creature has been sighted by countless witnesses, always emerging from the dense fog that often engulfs the land. The hound is said to be a harbinger of doom, its eyes glowing like fiery embers in the mist. Those who have seen it often speak of an overwhelming sense of dread, followed by an inexplicable cold that seems to seep into your very bones. There's one particularly disturbing account from a traveller who, while hiking the moors, found themselves alone in a patch of dense fog. As they pressed forward, they saw the outline of a large black dog, its eyes glowing eerily in the mist. The traveller attempted to approach, but the creature vanished before their eyes, only to reappear further along the path, still watching from the shadows. Unable to shake the feeling of being followed, the traveller fled, only to fall ill with a fever that left them bedridden for days. The moors themselves seem alive, a constant shifting presence in the mist. The fog that rolls in here isn't just a weather phenomenon, it's a living, breathing thing, thick and impenetrable. The wind howls through the barren hills, carrying with it the faintest echoes of voices from another time, or perhaps from something darker. The feeling of being watched is never far, as though unseen eyes follow your every move. Visitors often describe feeling an overwhelming sense of unease, the atmosphere so oppressive that it feels as though the moors themselves are trying to pull you deeper into their heart, never to return. We've only begun to scratch the surface of the UK's most haunted natural landscapes, From eerie woods to haunted mountains, these places will leave you questioning what's truly lurking in the shadows. Let's continue our journey into the unknown, where the boundaries between the living and the dead blur, and where the land itself seems to whisper its dark secrets to those brave or foolish enough to listen. Number 4. The Dark Hedges, Northern Ireland. Our next destination takes us to one of the most hauntingly beautiful places in Northern Ireland, the Dark Hedges. This stunning avenue of beech trees, which stretches for nearly half a mile, is renowned for its otherworldly beauty. As the towering trees curve over the road, they create a tunnel of twisted, gnarled branches that almost seem to reach down like skeletal arms. It's a place where light barely touches the earth and where shadows linger a little too long. But beneath its picturesque surface lies a dark and tragic history, one that has given rise to stories of a restless spirit that haunts the trees to this very day. Legend has it that the Dark Hedges are haunted by the ghost of the Grey Lady. This spectral figure is said to be the spirit of a maid who met a tragic and untimely end near the trees. Her story is a sorrowful one, a tale of love and betrayal. She was murdered in these woods by a man who had promised her marriage but broke his vow. Her life was taken, and now her ghost drifts silently between the trees, her footsteps echoing in the dead of night. The mournful sound of her footsteps is said to be heard by those brave enough to walk beneath the trees after dark, as if she is still searching for the love she was denied. On several occasions, people walking along the avenue at night have reported seeing the Grey Lady herself, her form barely visible but unmistakable as she drifts between the dark, tangled branches. One particularly chilling account comes from a traveller who was walking through the hedges when they heard soft, measured footsteps behind them. They turned to find no one there, but when they looked ahead, the Grey Lady was seen, slowly fading into the mist that had suddenly enveloped the trees. Others have said that the trees themselves seem to whisper her name, as if the very air is filled with her sadness. The atmosphere here is nothing short of eerie, especially as the sun sets and the shadows grow longer. The canopy of beech trees blocks out much of the light, creating an unnatural twilight that never seems to fully fade. On foggy evenings, the road becomes almost unnavigable, with the trees blending into a wall of mist. The sound of your own footsteps is muffled, swallowed by the thick, damp air, and the feeling of being watched is impossible to ignore. It's as if the trees themselves hold a memory of the past, and the spirit of the Grey Lady still lingers in the silence, waiting for something or someone. As the mist clears, and we leave the haunting beauty of the Dark Hedges behind, we find ourselves drawn further into the eerie landscapes of the UK, where the veil between the living and the dead is razor-thin. Next, we journey to a place where spirits are said to linger beneath the earth itself, calling out from the shadows of forgotten graves. Prepare yourself for what's coming next, as we venture into another chilling location where ancient souls still roam. 5. The Isle of Skye, Scotland. Our journey now takes us to the rugged and mystical Isle of Skye, one of Scotland's most awe-inspiring and eerie landscapes. Known for its jagged cliffs, sweeping hills, and the otherworldly beauty of the Quirraying landslip, this is a place where the land seems to come alive. But beneath the breathtaking views and ancient stone formations lies a dark history, a history that lingers in the fog and whispers through the mist. The Quirraying, in particular, is a place steeped in legend, where many say the very earth holds the restless spirits of those who perished here long ago. The Quiraing landslip is a popular location for photographers seeking to capture its dramatic, surreal beauty, but it's also known for something far more unsettling. Over the years, many visitors have reported seeing strange figures wandering the cliffs, figures that seem to emerge from the fog, only to vanish when approached. These apparitions are believed to be the spirits of warriors who perished on the Isle of Skye centuries ago, during the many battles fought on its unforgiving terrain. One particularly eerie legend speaks of a group of phantom Highlanders forever doomed to march through the mist. These ghostly warriors are said to appear on foggy mornings, their footsteps heavy as they make their way across the moors. It is said that their final moments, still vivid in the realm of the dead, play out in an endless spectral march. Those who have encountered them report feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, as if the very air around them is charged with the weight of a centuries-old tragedy. As the mist rolls in over the land, the atmosphere on the Isle of Skye grows heavy with an otherworldly tension. The winds whip across the jagged cliffs, carrying the smell of damp earth and salt water from the surrounding sea. The landscape here feels suspended in time, as if the past and present are constantly battling for dominance. The fog that drapes over the Quiraing has a life of its own, often thickening unexpectedly, swallowing the land in its white embrace and obscuring the path ahead. It's easy to feel as though you're not alone here, as if something ancient and powerful is watching, waiting, and perhaps reliving its own tragic end. The Isle of Skye's haunting beauty and tragic past have made it a place where the dead seem to walk alongside the living. But as we leave the eerie cliffs behind, our journey takes us to a darker and more unsettling place, where even the ground itself seems to carry the weight of a terrible history. Prepare yourself, because our next stop holds a chilling secret that may leave you questioning the boundaries between life and death. 6. Buckland Abbey, Devon. Deep in the heart of the Devon countryside lies Buckland Abbey, a tranquil and picturesque site that holds a dark and chilling history. Known for its association with the legendary explorer Sir Francis Drake, it is a place where the past seems to never truly fade. The Abbey, originally built as a medieval monastery, has witnessed centuries of history, but it's not just the historical significance that draws people in. There are whispers of something far more unsettling hidden within its walls. Buckland Abbey is often described as a place cursed by the spirits of its past. It is said that Sir Francis Drake himself still haunts the grounds, his ghost pacing restlessly through the gardens, a shadow of the man he once was. On several occasions, visitors have reported seeing Drake's spectral form, dressed in the attire of his time, walking with purpose as though endlessly searching for something or someone that he lost in life. Others who have ventured inside the Abbey have been met with far more disturbing experiences. Disembodied voices echo through the halls, strange laughter seems to rise from nowhere, and footsteps, deliberate and heavy, are heard from empty rooms. Some believe the Abbey is caught in a loop of its tragic past, where the restless souls of those who once inhabited the Abbey are doomed to repeat their lives, never finding peace. The Abbey's atmosphere is thick with an unsettling quiet, broken only by the occasional creak of old wood or the wind rustling through the trees outside. The gardens, once a place of beauty, now feel oppressive, as though they too are haunted by the memory of a time long gone. At night, when the shadows grow long and the house falls into stillness, the air becomes heavy, thick with the weight of unseen presences. It's a place where the boundary between the living and the dead feels paper-thin, and where every creak and whisper seems to carry a deeper, more ominous meaning. The ghost of Sir Francis Drake is not the only thing that lingers at Buckland Abbey, but as we leave its haunted grounds behind, we continue on, deeper into the lands where the past refuses to stay buried. There are darker stories waiting to be uncovered, and they may just be more than we can bear. 7. Ben Macdui, Cairngorms. Ben Macdui, the second highest mountain in Scotland, towers over the Cairngorms, its rugged slopes and mist-covered peaks a stark reminder of nature's raw power. It's a place where the winds howl fiercely and the landscape seems both beautiful and unforgiving. Yet beyond its awe-inspiring views, Ben Macdui is also known for something far more unsettling. For centuries, this mountain has been the site of strange and terrifying encounters, giving rise to one of Scotland's most infamous paranormal legends. The entity that haunts Ben Macdui is known as the Big Grey Man, a tall, shadowy figure that lurks in the mist, following those who dare to hike the mountain's unforgiving ridges. Witnesses who have encountered this entity speak of an overwhelming sense of dread, a feeling that something is silently stalking them from just beyond their line of sight. The terror is so intense that many hikers are driven to flee the mountain, their hearts racing with a primal fear that seems to come from nowhere. Some who have reported seeing the Big Grey Man describe a massive, shadowy figure that appears in the mist, moving with unnatural speed and grace. Its presence is accompanied by an inexplicable drop in temperature, a thickening of the air, and the unnerving sensation that the mountain itself is alive, watching, waiting. One particularly chilling account tells of a hiker who was followed by the figure along a narrow ridge, only to turn around and find it was gone, vanishing as quickly as it appeared, leaving the hiker alone in the vast emptiness. The atmosphere on Ben Macdui is one of isolation, where the howling winds carry whispers that echo through the peaks, and the thick fog makes it nearly impossible to see beyond a few feet. The air is dense, heavy, with an unspoken presence. It's easy to feel the pull of something ancient here, something that has existed long before humans ever set foot on these lands. The mountain holds its secrets, and for those brave enough to venture here, those secrets may reveal themselves in terrifying ways. 8. The Forest of Dean, Gloucestershire. Hidden deep within the ancient and dense Forest of Dean lies a place wrapped in mystery and fear, a place known as the Devil's Chapel. The forest, with its towering trees and dark, tangled undergrowth, has always been a land of legends, but none are more chilling than the stories that arise from this eerie, isolated spot. For centuries, the Forest of Dean has been shrouded in supernatural occurrences, with strange happenings that seem to seep from the very earth itself, forever binding the land to a dark history. The Devil's Chapel, as it's known, is a place where the veil between the living and the dead is said to be particularly thin. Locals have long whispered about the spectral figures of phantom monks who are often seen wandering between the trees at night. Dressed in dark, tattered robes, these figures seem to move without a sound, vanishing as quickly as they appear. Some believe these monks are the restless spirits of an ancient order, doomed to roam the forest for eternity, forever guarding the secret of their tragic end. One particularly chilling tale speaks of a man who ventured into the woods alone, drawn to the infamous Devil's Chapel by an inexplicable compulsion. As he wandered deeper into the forest, he began to hear whispers, low and unintelligible at first, Then clearer, unmistakable voices calling his name, pulling him further into the darkness. Those who knew the man claim he was never seen again. His disappearance remains one of the forest's greatest mysteries, as if the woods themselves had claimed him as another lost soul, forever swallowed by its secrets. The Forest of Dean is a place where light struggles to pierce the thick canopy and shadows stretch unnaturally long, even during the day. At night, the air feels heavy, charged with a sense of something unseen, something watching. The quiet is broken only by the faint rustling of leaves or the distant call of a bird. But when the night deepens, the whispers begin, carried on the wind, and it's then that you know the forest is alive, with something far older and far darker than any living creature that might roam its depths. 9. Epping Forest, Essex. In the heart of Essex lies Epping Forest, an ancient woodland that stretches for miles, its dark, tangled trees concealing secrets that are not meant to be uncovered. Though beautiful by day, the forest's true nature emerges when the sun sets. Epping is infamous for its twisted folklore, its legends steeped in death, betrayal, and the supernatural. It is said that the forest is haunted by the spirit of a highwayman, a man whose violent death has left him trapped within the woods, forever roaming, seeking vengeance. The ghost of this highwayman is a terrifying presence in Epping Forest. Locals speak of seeing his shadowy form, riding through the trees, his figure emerging from the darkness, illuminated only by the faint moonlight. His ghostly horse's hooves pound the earth, creating an eerie rhythm that echoes through the woods. Those who have encountered him report feeling a wave of cold terror wash over them, a crippling sense of dread that paralyzes the body, making it impossible to run or even scream. Some say the highwayman is a restless spirit, forever reliving the final moments of his life, when he was betrayed and murdered in these very woods. Others claim that the highwayman is searching for something, or someone, his vengeance still unsatisfied. A chilling story tells of a man who, on a quiet night, heard the sound of galloping hooves behind him as he walked through the forest. He turned, expecting to see a rider, but found nothing. The hooves grew louder, but the rider never appeared. As the sound got closer, he felt the air grow colder, his heart racing, until the pounding hooves suddenly stopped, leaving only silence and an overwhelming feeling of being watched. The atmosphere in Epping Forest shifts the moment twilight falls. The trees, thick and dense, create a canopy so tight that the light barely reaches the ground. At night, the air is heavy, thick with the weight of history, and the silence feels suffocating, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves or the distant call of an owl. The wind carries an unnatural chill, the kind that makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. In the darkness, every movement seems amplified, and the shadows stretch longer, twisting into shapes that feel far too familiar. As the galloping hooves echo in the distance, you can't help but wonder if they're coming for you. Epping Forest is a place where the past refuses to stay buried, where the dead are not at rest. But as we leave the haunted woods behind, the next stop on our journey awaits, a place where the very ground beneath your feet may hold the spirits of the forgotten, and where terror is not just something you feel, it's something you experience. Prepare yourself, for what comes next may be more than you can handle. 10. Loch Ness, Scotland. Nestled deep in the Scottish Highlands, Loch Ness is a place of both natural beauty and haunting mystery. While the world knows it for the legend of the Loch Ness monster, the Loch holds darker, far more sinister tales that remain largely untold. This vast, murky body of water, stretching for miles, seems to hide secrets beneath its surface, secrets that refuse to stay buried. There are whispers that Loch Ness is not just home to a mythical creature, but a portal to something far more malevolent, something older than the hills themselves. While Nessie remains the most famous inhabitant of these dark waters, the Loch is steeped in far darker tales. Several visitors have reported seeing shadowy figures just beneath the water's surface, dark shapes moving in the depths, too large to be mere fish or debris. These strange sightings are often accompanied by an unnatural cold that seems to emanate from the very waters themselves. People speak of sudden, bone-chilling temperature drops that leave them shivering, despite the warmth of the surrounding air, and there are those who felt an unsettling vibration, like the pulse of something massive moving beneath them, sending ripples through the air and the ground beneath their feet. Some locals believe that Loch Ness holds more than just the famed creature. They believe it is a gateway to something far darker, a realm beneath the water where ancient and malevolent spirits stir. A chilling account from a group of fishermen who were out on the loch one night describes how, as they drifted along the water's surface, they suddenly felt an overwhelming sense of dread. The temperature plummeted, and their boat began to vibrate violently, as though something enormous was circling beneath them. The fishermen rowed frantically back to shore, but the vibrations continued, as though something was watching, waiting, beneath the depths. The atmosphere around Loch Ness is thick, with a sense of foreboding. The loch's surface often appears still, but there's something unsettling about the calm, an unnatural silence that seems to hum with energy. The mist that frequently rises off the water only adds to the mystery, casting everything in a ghostly veil. The towering hills surrounding the loch seem to close in on the water, as though they too are hiding something dark. The air is heavy, laden with an ancient, unspoken tension. You can't help but feel as though something ancient, and possibly far more dangerous than a giant sea creature, stirs just beneath the surface. Loch Ness may hold the secrets of the deep, but it is only one of many places where the spirits of the past remain restless, haunting the land and the waters. And as we leave these dark waters behind, our journey continues into a place where the very earth itself seems to hold a tragic history. Prepare yourself. What lies ahead is darker than anything you've yet encountered. 11. The Mourne Mountains, Northern Ireland. The Mourne Mountains, known for their breathtaking beauty and towering peaks, are a place where nature's majesty can quickly turn to terror. Nestled in the heart of Northern Ireland, these mountains seem to draw visitors into their fold with promises of stunning vistas and peaceful seclusion. But beneath the grandeur of the landscape, the Mournes are home to chilling tales of those who ventured too far and never returned. The mountains are not only steeped in natural beauty, but also in an eerie, unsettling energy that seems to seep from the very earth itself. One of the most terrifying legends of the Mourne Mountains is that of a woman who vanished here under mysterious circumstances. Locals tell the tale of a woman who wandered too far into the mountain's depths and was never seen again. But her story doesn't end there. As the night falls and the valley grows quiet, her screams can still be heard echoing across the mountainside. These anguished cries are said to carry on the wind, drifting through the valleys, as though the woman's spirit is trapped in the very land she disappeared from. It's not just the sound of her screams that haunts the mountains. Those who've dared to venture too deep into the Mournes often report an overwhelming sense of being watched. They speak of phantom footsteps following their every move, the faint sound of someone or something tracking them through the wilderness. The presence is so strong, it feels like an invisible hand is reaching out, trying to pull them deeper into the mountains, away from safety. Those who turn around in fear often find no one there, but the footsteps continue to echo behind them, drawing closer with each step they take. As the mist rolls over the peaks of the Mourne Mountains, the atmosphere becomes oppressive. The air thickens, and the shadows stretch long across the landscape. The wind howls through the valleys, but it feels different here, cold, almost alive, as if the mountain itself is breathing, waiting. The fog that settles in the evenings often becomes so dense that it blurs the line between reality and nightmare. It's easy to lose your way, easy to feel as though the land is closing in around you. Every step you take seems to echo back at you from the darkness, and with every passing moment, the sense of being watched grows stronger. The Mourne Mountains are a place where the past refuses to stay buried, and where those who dare to explore its depths may find themselves lost, not just in the landscape, but in a world where the boundaries between the living and the dead are impossibly thin. If you listen closely enough, you might hear her scream once more, carried on the wind, waiting for someone else to wander too far into the heart of the Mournes. 12. Wistman's Wood, Devon. Deep within the rolling hills of Dartmoor, in the heart of Devon, lies a place shrouded in mystery and fear, Wistman's Wood. This ancient woodland is unlike any other, its twisted gnarled trees standing like silent sentinels in the fog. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and moss, and the forest floor is carpeted with a tangle of roots and rocks. The trees here have grown in unnatural shapes, their branches stretching out like clawed hands reaching for the sky. But beneath this eerie beauty, Wistman's Wood harbors something far darker, something that refuses to stay hidden. Wistman's Wood is said to be haunted by the restless spirits of the dead, spirits that have never found peace. Visitors report hearing eerie sounds, like the rustling of unseen footsteps, moving just beyond the reach of their vision. The heavy silence of the forest is often broken by strange whispers carried on the wind, as though the trees themselves are speaking in an ancient tongue. Some who wander here claim to have seen ghostly figures slipping between the trees, faint shapes that vanish as soon as they are noticed, leaving behind only a lingering chill. According to local legend, the spirits that haunt Wistman's Wood are those of ancient Druids who once inhabited the forest. It is said that these Druids performed rituals here, sacrificing to the gods of the land. But something went horribly wrong, and now their restless souls are trapped in the very trees they once revered. These spirits are not content to simply pass in the night. They are trapped, forever bound to the wood, and their energy can be felt in the thick fog that often blankets the forest floor. The atmosphere in Wistman's Wood is unlike anything you've ever experienced. The fog that rolls in here is thick and oppressive, swallowing everything in its wake. The twisted trees seem to lean in closer, their bark cold to the touch, as though they are alive, watching. The silence in the wood is suffocating, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves or the far-off sound of footsteps that aren't your own. The very air feels charged with an unnatural energy, as though the forest itself is holding its breath, waiting. In the dark, every shadow feels like a presence, every rustle of the trees a warning. Wistman's Wood is a place where the past and present collide, where the dead do not rest, and where the very land itself holds the spirits of those long gone. If you venture too deep into the heart of the wood, you may find yourself lost, not just in the trees, but in the realm of the restless souls that roam beneath their twisted branches. And perhaps, if you listen closely, you might hear the whispers of the Druids, beckoning you to join them in their eternal ritual. 13. Pendle Hill, Lancashire. Pendle Hill, rising ominously over the Lancashire landscape, is a place haunted by dark history and tragic fate. Known for its breathtaking views, the hill has a far more sinister reputation, one that has been cemented through the centuries by its connection to the infamous Pendle Witches. In the 17th century, 12 people, mostly women, were accused of witchcraft and hanged on these very hills. Their executions marked a bloody chapter in British history, but the spirits of those wrongfully condemned have never truly left, and their chilling presence still lingers today. As you climb Pendle Hill, many claim to feel the weight of the past pressing down on them. Visitors often report an overwhelming sense of unease, as though they are being watched by unseen eyes. Some have even heard strange whispers on the wind, murmurs that seem to echo the chants of the witches, who are said to practice their dark arts on this very land. The most unsettling stories come from those who have reached the summit, where the spectre of an old woman cloaked in a hood is often seen wandering alone. It is believed that she is one of the executed witches, forever trapped in the place where her life was stolen. The most chilling account comes from a couple who hiked up Pendle Hill on a crisp autumn evening. As they reached the summit, they were startled by the sound of chanting carried on the wind. They turned to see a figure standing in the distance, a woman, hooded and draped in a tattered cloak, her back to them. When they called out, the figure disappeared into the air, vanishing into the cold mist that had suddenly rolled in, leaving them frozen in place, with only the faintest trace of an unearthly presence remaining behind. The atmosphere on Pendle Hill is heavy with history, but it is the sense of something much darker that dominates the land. The wind here seems to carry the echoes of long-past rituals, and the higher you climb, the more oppressive the air becomes. The mist, thick and sudden, rolls across the hilltop, obscuring everything in its path, as if the hill itself is trying to hide something, or perhaps someone. At night, the hill is eerily quiet, broken only by the sound of footsteps that seem to follow your own, and the distant whisper of voices you cannot understand. Pendle Hill holds the ghosts of its past, where the cries of the innocent seem to echo through the wind, and the shadow of the executed witches still lingers at the summit. The next time you walk these hills, know that you may not be alone, not just in body, but in spirit. And perhaps, if you listen closely enough, you'll hear the whispers of the witches calling you to join them in their eternal night. 14. The Needles, Isle of Wight. Off the southern coast of England lies the Isle of Wight, and at its westernmost point, a striking and dangerous natural formation known as the Needles. These towering chalk stacks, rising sharply from the sea, are both a spectacular sight and a deadly hazard. For centuries, ships have been lost in these treacherous waters, their wrecks scattered on the jagged rocks below. But beyond their perilous beauty, the Needles are also a place where the past refuses to stay silent, and where the restless spirits of the sea seem to rise from the depths. The Needles are haunted by the spirits of sailors who met their untimely end in shipwrecks around the rocks. Locals and visitors alike have reported hearing ghostly voices carried on the wind, calling out to them from the mist. It's said that these voices beckon, urging those who hear them closer to the rocks, toward the very fate that claimed the souls of countless sailors. One particularly eerie account comes from a fisherman who, while passing near the Needles in the thick fog, heard a man's voice call his name from the distance. He called back, but there was no answer. As he continued his journey, the voice grew louder, urging him closer to the cliffs until he pulled away, terrified, and made his way to safety. Some sailors claim that the voices are not just echoes of the past, but a warning, a malevolent force that draws those who listen too closely into the deadly embrace of the rocks. The voices grow stronger as the fog thickens, and it is said that those who fall under their spell may find themselves lost in the mist, drawn toward their own watery grave. The air around the Needles is thick with an unnatural stillness. The fog rolls in from the sea, swallowing everything in its path. The sound of the waves crashing against the rocks is drowned by the eerie silence, broken only by the distant cries of gulls or the faint, unsettling call of a voice that doesn't belong. As you stand before the towering chalk formations, the wind feels colder, sharper, like a warning, an unseen presence that is always lurking just beyond your sight. The mist curls around the rocks, obscuring their dangerous edges, and the feeling of being watched grows stronger, as if something ancient is waiting just beneath the surface. The Needles may appear majestic and beautiful from afar, but beneath the surface lies a dark secret, one that calls to the living, luring them closer to a tragic fate. The next time you find yourself near these jagged cliffs, beware the voices in the fog, for they may not be as distant as they seem. And who knows, perhaps you'll hear them too, beckoning you toward the rocks, just as they have for centuries. 15. Scree of St. Kilda, Scotland. And now we come to the final stop on our journey, one of the most remote and eerie locations in the United Kingdom, the Scree of St. Kilda. This isolated island off the coast of Scotland is a place steeped in mystery and haunting tales. Once home to a small community of inhabitants, St. Kilda was abandoned in the 1930s, leaving behind only the ruins of their homes and the haunting memories of those who once lived there. But even in their absence, it is said that the spirits of the island's long-dead residents still linger, their restless souls trapped in the isolation of this desolate place. The island's cliffs are often the site of eerie encounters. Visitors claim to have seen ghostly figures standing at the edge, staring out over the vast ocean, as if waiting for someone or something. Some have even reported seeing the faint outline of a woman in white, standing among the ruins of the old village, her silhouette barely visible in the mist. But it is not just the figures that haunt the island. Others who've ventured here have heard something far more unsettling, faint, mournful singing that carries on the wind, drifting through the empty air, echoing across the desolation of the island. The sound is said to be hauntingly beautiful, but it is accompanied by a sense of dread, as if the song is a lament for something lost, something that can never return. The isolation of St. Kilda is almost suffocating. The island is cut off from the mainland, surrounded by crashing waves and steep cliffs that make it nearly impossible to reach. The silence here is absolute, broken only by the occasional gust of wind or the haunting song carried on the breeze. The air feels thick, laden with the weight of a past that refuses to fade, a past that clings to the very stones of the island. There is an undeniable sense that the spirits here are not simply haunting the place, they are waiting for someone to join them in their endless solitude. St. Kilda is a place where the dead are not at rest, where the past continues to haunt the present, and where the winds carry more than just the sound of the ocean. As we leave this desolate place behind, one can't help but wonder, could the spirits of St. Kilda still be waiting for someone to join them, to become a part of their eternal silence? Perhaps, somewhere in the wind, you'll hear their song too, calling you to a place where time and death are one. From the haunted heathlands of London to the windswept cliffs of St. Kilda, the UK is home to some of the most terrifying natural places on Earth. These locations are steeped in history, mystery, and legends that continue to haunt them to this day. Whether it's the restless spirits of the Pendle Witches or the ghostly figures drifting through the fog in Dartmoor, each place carries the echoes of its past, refusing to fade into the darkness. These stories, these places, they leave an imprint on the soul, reminding us that some things are never truly forgotten. What do you think? Are these places truly haunted, or is it all just folklore and legend? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever visited any of these haunted locations? Or maybe you have your own eerie story to share. We'd love to hear about your experiences. If you enjoyed this spine-chilling journey through the UK's most haunted landscapes, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you never miss another eerie tale. Join us next time as we uncover more dark secrets and terrifying tales that will make you think twice about the world around you. Until then, stay safe, keep your wits about you, and remember, sometimes the scariest things aren't what you can see, but what you feel. Until next time, keep looking over your shoulder, because you never know what might be lurking in the shadows.